you had the California State Senate seat for District 4, which was a lot of Madera County and Merced County. And in 2022, this was roughly a 60 to 40, 57-43 Republican-leaning district. Okay, so this was a safe seat for Republicans, one of the few safe seats that Republicans have in the whole state legislature. And so what happened? You had a bunch of ambitious local Republicans who all ran for this seat in the jungle primary, but you had exactly 2 Democrats running for it. So one of these 2 was Marie Alvarado Gil, and basically what happened, you had about 4 or 5 Republicans who all got somewhere between 15 to 5% of the vote, and the 2 Democrats each got 20% of the vote. And according to the California top 2 jungle primary system,
got the top 2.
Thank you, Governor Schwarzenegger, for this. No, thank you. 2 Democrats were in the top 2, and a Democrat got elected to this state Senate seat that should have been a Republican seat. And no recall was able to get organized. Marie Alvarado Gil, the state senator from this area, she wound up becoming a Republican.
Okay.
And then she's had a couple of little scandaloos over the course of her time in the state Senate that she'll be having to run again, I guess, for this seat in 2026. But it goes to show, obviously, Madera and Merced and a state Senate seat is on a much smaller scale. But this is a thing that is mathematically possible. This is a thing that is possible that can happen, especially when you're talking about politicians who are very vain and have invested a lot of money, as have all these Democrats running for governor. Tom Steyer has put in $56 million of his own money already. And one of these points I heard about, the possibility of some of these people dropping out, and it was a good point. When these candidates get big dollar contributions, the idea is to hold on to it because you're going to spend the bulk of it in the 5 or 6 weeks leading up to the election. That's when people have their ballots. That's when people are making their decisions. So to say to Matt Mahan, who's getting all this Silicon Valley money flowing in, oh, you should just drop out. No, he's sitting on millions of dollars. Like, he's gonna spend it. He's gonna spend it at the end. So it's unreasonable to expect him, Steyer, Porter, Swalwell. I think it's unreasonable to expect Javier Becerra is going to drop out. I don't think Antonio Villaraigosa is going to drop out. I think both of them are too vain to actually stop running. And I think as long as, those six, as long as they're still in, I think the Democrat vote can still be really fractured if they can't solidify around an apple of that 6. And the other 2, I think, are so small potatoes that they're not actually going to impact things very much.
I think you're right. I don't think that any of them are going to drop off. Their egos are pretty big. It's going to be diluted. So why not, Republicans, take advantage of the opportunity and try and pull off a top 2?
You know who? If she were in this race, she would be dominating all the Democrats, and it would be over right now.
It would be over.
Yeah. But as we'll talk about in the next segment, she's looking pretty good with regards to the Democrat nomination for 2028. And I think she had come to kind of a fork in the road. Do I run for governor of California or do I run for president? And right now, she's doing, in some polls, better than Gavin Newsom is.
490-5858. That's the voice of John Girardi. It's 10:30. Let's take a check of the news on KMJ.
KMJ News now. After news of a 7th fallen service member in the ongoing conflict with Iran, Clovis residents gathered yesterday at the Veterans Memorial District to honor them.
The point of the vigil was to remind the brave men and women in the armed forces that their sacrifices are not being taken for granted. Several people showed up to pay their respects. Now, this war with Iran has been largely celebrated by much of the Iranian community, who say this change in leadership is something they've waited decades for.
95 million people from Iran, 90 million.
The McDonald's inside the Dinuba Walmart was shut down after customers spotted 3 rodents inside the restaurant. Video shared with ABC 30 shows the rodents moving around the location on El Monte Way and Alta Avenue. Walmart says the moment they were notified, the McDonald's was immediately closed while crews assessed the problem and began
shift that's happening where polls are turning away from Newsom as the country gets a better glimpse at him and maybe doesn't necessarily love what they see, where polls are shifting a little away from Newsom and back towards her. And I think there's a lot of dynamics at play here.
I love it.
I mean, selfishly, I also love it too, because I think she's very beatable in 2028. But I think it's fascinating to see. So I think maybe the starting point is Gavin Newsom is maybe less likable than he thinks he is. And I've thought this, that all of his failures as governor, it's not like Gavin Newsom has done a bunch of things that make liberals happy and Republicans mad, and that those are his failures. That's not it. His failures are in terms of things that are, from a bipartisan perspective, bad. Nobody likes homelessness. Homelessness has increased. We wasted $15-20 billion on homelessness services that we can't even track how successful they are. Nobody likes wildfires. He had wildfires early on in his administration. Then, in his last year, the worst wildfire anyone's ever seen, clearly didn't do anything to stop it. Nobody likes the bullet train not getting finished, left, right, or center. And just the vision of him on a CNN or MSNBC Democratic primary debate stage, surrounded by ruthlessly ambitious killers like AOC or Kamala Harris, if she can, actually get the words out of her mouth, or maybe a Josh Shapiro or somebody, they're going to rip him apart. And they have so much to work with. The most expensive place to live in the country, the highest gas prices in the country, all these things where Newsom is really, really vulnerable. And I think his book tour has not been the ringing success that he thought it would be. And here we are where his unfavorability numbers nationwide. I saw a poll ask where people do favorable, unfavorable. His unfavorability numbers are much higher than his favorability numbers. I mean, he's got like 27% favorability, 43% unfavorable, and everyone else is undecided. So that's not where you want to be if you're running for president, I think. So.
Yeah, and in the polling of him up against Kamala Harris, it's kind of a bit of a roller coaster ride back and forth.
Right.
So it looks like people are,
They're
maybe between the two of them.
Yeah.
But they also want to see who else is out there. This is what I think is really interesting. This headline coming out of, I don't remember where. Governor Newsom to spend $19 million in taxpayer cash on ads aimed at California misinformation. He is trying to remake his image. He says...
with us footing the bill for it.
With us, exactly.
Yeah.
He's rebranding California. He has a mass exodus of people from this state that are fleeing to more affordable states. He can't run on the issue of affordability. That's for sure.
Right. And he's trying... He goes on Jimmy Kimmel, and he has the audacity to talk about, we need an abundance agenda. Which, for those who don't know, the abundance agenda argument is this thing that this liberal columnist from the New York Times named Ezra Klein has been pushing. And it's basically his reaction after 2024 that, hey, Democrats have some of these states that we've controlled for years, New York, Illinois, Maryland, California. Democrats have run it for forever, and they're not working very well, and they can't build anything. They can't finish the bullet train in California. They can't build housing. We need a different kind of Democrat agenda that is more open to actually accomplishing things, more open to housing, more open to
abundance, is that what you mean?
That's the idea. That's the whole idea of it. And for Newsom to come in and act like, he's a standard bearer for this, the whole argument was framed in opposition to California and how California has operated for these last 7 years of him as the governor. He's so disingenuous and slimy, and I get this. I think that's shining through for people, that he's a little too slick, and I sort of wonder if I think he thinks of himself as like the next Bill Clinton. I wonder if he's the next Beto O'Rourke.
Well, that's a really good
handsome, slick white guy that once people look at him a little too closely, they're not a lot of substance.
I am so over these politicians and like their childhood sob stories that don't seem to be real. That's my thing.
We were talking about this before the show.
It was like if I ran for office, There is no sob story for me.
Yeah,
Like,
me
I
neither.
don't
Yeah.
understand this need and desire for you to make people think that this is I think what I loved about Trump.
Yeah.
Trump was like,
I'm a
I don't,
billionaire.
I'm richer than you say I am.
Yeah.
That was Trump.
Yeah.
Like, I am like slumming it on Air Force One because Trump Force One is so much better than Air Force One, right?
Exactly,
I mean,
yeah.
that was Donald Trump. Like, the White House is a beautiful place, but man, Trump Tower is all gold and it's
Mar-a-Lago
amazing.
is even nicer.
Yeah, right. So Donald Trump was unapologetically who he was. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Yeah.
His dad was a real estate mogul in New York City. He became a real estate mogul in New York City. He is is he a billionaire? I don't know, but he'll tell you that he's a billionaire if he is, even if he isn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The media spent years trying to disprove he was as rich as what he said he was.
Right.
He had them running circles around this. Meanwhile, Democrats are trying to tell the sob story. What about the story of, like, my dad was a judge.
Yeah.
And my parents got divorced.
Yeah.
I mean, he says this in the book.
Right.
My mom did not want me to run for politics, and that's why my parents got divorced. I still ran for politics. I didn't listen to her. I'm like a lot of people out there in this world. The guy has a story, at least. My dad wasn't so very nice to my mom and I, but you know what? We overcame.
Yeah, but then for him
And
to
my best friends were the Gettys.
Yeah. Well, because he's given these narratives of I was raised by a single mother. It's like, okay, well, there's raised by a single mother, and then there's raised by a single mother. There's raised by a single mother where your dad is a very powerful lawyer who works for the Getty family, and when you were 20 years old, you were listed in you were featured in a San Francisco Chronicle
as among
article
the San Francisco elite.
Yeah, about the children of the rich in San Francisco. Like, no one's gonna buy this sob story. And you're right, at the very least, Trump is like authentic to who he is. He's nothing other than what he claims to be, a rich guy. And Newsom can't just lean into
I don't know why people feel like they've got to have this sob story, and it's like, I'm just like you. Well, you're not, because you're a politician.
Right.
Like, if everybody was the same, that wouldn't be a very fun world either.
And it makes the actual authentic, like, rags to riches stories, like
it really downplays them.
The Mark Wayne Mullins.
A phone call is here. A phone call is here.
He was nominated to replace Kristi Noem, where there were several Democrats mocking. He's the only guy in the Senate who doesn't even have a college